In this quick video, I want to discuss with you your topics that you're choosing for your own independent research. All right. Now, it's really important that you understand there are a couple types of research, and one is, for example, can be called frontier research, and that is the discovery of something new, and that is very much like journalism. It's purely informative, and it's simply trying to present to a community of readers the discovery of something new. So there's no sort of argument that's being made there in frontier research. It's more of a revelation, an activity of revelation. You're revealing to the audience a new pyramid, a lost document of Egyptian annals, a new meteor, a new sea species, a sea shark species. I don't know. I mean, you know what I'm trying to say. Then there is something, for example, the pro versus con argument research that goes into making a pro versus con argument. A yes against, yes I'm for, no no I'm against. A yes or no argument, like are you for gun rights, are you against it? And this is sort of the debate research, right, where you know that you have sides, and the sides have already been drawn up, and you are basically researching both sides, and then you're going to try to make an argument for one side or another. Okay, so let's call that the debate research. And so the first one was frontier research, second was debate research. And now what about just the research that you take a topic and you try to learn as much as you can about it? No one's arguing about it or anything, so it's just not like you're trying to pick sides over a controversial issue. But you read a lot about a certain topic, a certain disease, a certain habit, a certain country, a certain business practice, a certain whatever, and you learn a ton about it. Okay, and then in your research work, because that was research, right? I mean, what are we saying research is? It's kind of hard to come up with a definition that is a holistic and sufficient definition, but you know, you're finding sources, you're looking up things, you're looking up facts, you're putting things together, and you got this body of information that's growing and growing of your own making. I mean, of your own collection. So, you know, it's going to feel very much like research, isn't it? And then you put it together, and then you submit it to your readership. And very often it's going to be your teacher, right? But see, the thing is, I'm going to call that sort of purely informative research, but I'm actually going to give it the name book report research, okay? Because that's basically what it is. You're writing a report on all the books you read, okay? So you got, let's see, debate research, frontier research, book report research, okay? Now, debate research might also be called the position paper, right? Now, let's talk about a fourth area of research, and I'm going to call this the academic argument. And for a more colloquial or easier to grasp notion here, how about something like the observation paper, okay? And that's where, you know, you take the facts and you take the readings and you take everything you learned and you make an observation about something, or you make a connection somewhere, or you explain something, or you redefine a word, or you do something, right? You do something. And it's not necessarily taking the side of a debate. It's not pure information, because you know, you're working with information, but you're trying to do something with it, okay, other than just regurgitate it to your audience, or recap it to your audience, or summarize it to your audience, or report it to your audience. So it goes beyond just the book report, the glorified book report. You're actually trying to make an observation stick. You're trying to say, look, here's a claim I have to make about all this. Here's my point. Here's my view on X, Y, or Z, or a view, again, seems to smack more of a position paper, but You know, it's just a simple observation about something, all right? So which type of, I'll call that the observational research. What type of research are we doing here? Because, you know, again, I think I started calling observational research or claims research, because you're making a claim there, you know, academic, but they all can be academic, right? So what am I looking for you to do, okay? I am not looking for frontier research, because that's very hard to do, and it takes a lot of money, a lot of time, or a lot of luck, and you got to know what you're looking for. And I'm just not asking for that. Okay, so take the pressure off you. I'm not looking for you to discover something new. All right, I'm not looking for debate research, because here's the trouble. Research is often taught in this mode, and you're often encouraged to pick a side on something or pick a position, and then go and muster the facts, get them in line, find the facts, find the quotes, find the testimony, find the support, right? And then use the support to make your point. But see, I used the wrong terminology. Use the support to explain your position. There we go. That's better. And you know, it's just that's one way to write a research paper of like 20. Now, I have seen a list of 18 ways, but I know more than 18 ways, and so I'm going to say that's just like one way out of 20. Let's just say 20 to write a research paper. Do not fall into the trap that I'm looking for a position paper, because I want you to show me, okay, that you know how to write something different from a position paper. So I can tell already. Some of you can do that very well. Some of you have very strong writing skills. So, but let's keep on going. I'm not looking for the book report. Now, obviously, you're thinking to yourself, well, Horn, I'm not going to write you a book report. Well, I know, but let's call it the glorified book report, or let's call it the purely informational paper, because I can see from looking at your posts that many of you are actually kind of going down this way. All right, and what you're doing is, hey, like, oh, I got interested in, and then you put your topic up, and then you say, I'm finding all this information. That's good, okay? That's how you start. Obviously, you have to read about it, and you have to find information on it. But do not let yourself think that at the end, as long as you recap that information, recap it, re-say it, provide it to me, that you will be completing your job. In fact, what you'll be doing is substituting a simpler task for the more arduous task I'm asking you to do. Okay. So I'm not looking for you just to collate sources, whether they be audiobooks or documentaries or pictures or graphs or data or surveys or whatever. I'm not looking for you just to collate it and then to sum it up and then to give it to me in a paper. Because that would be reporting, that would be parroting, that would be purely information. That's the job of the journalist, okay? And, you know, if you're headed that way, that's fine. You need to learn how to do that. But what we're looking for here, and what most college professors are looking at, is they're looking at students. They're hoping to engender in a student, and they are looking for this, the skill to make your own voice, okay? And when you have your own voice, that means that you're making an observation, you're making a point. It doesn't have to necessarily be a position, but you're trying to articulate a statement that is of your own making. Now, here's what I mean. Now, that's what I want you to do. I want you to do this fourth type of research. It's an argument. And again, I don't want you to think of an argument simply in terms of, hey, arguing for or against something. That's a very facile definition of argumentation. It's a very poor definition. An argument, in its essence, is three statements, two of which are premises, and the third is a conclusion that follows from the premises. Now, an extended argument is going to run off that and have other material there, but an argument is not, by definition, two people yelling at each other over who's right or who's wrong. That's not the definition, okay? So, what I want you to be able to do is to use information to make your own argument, to make your own point. Let's call it your thesis about something, okay? And you need to make sure that no one else has made that point or that thesis exactly as you're trying to make it. All right. So that's what we mean where there's that voice comes out. Now you don't have to be over the top original. You don't have to be the next Albert Einstein. You just have to be sure that you have not seen your own point being articulated by someone else. So you in fact are introducing an utterance that is a unique utterance, and you have reasons to believe that that utterance is true. Okay, so you can imagine someone looking at you and saying, say again, why do you believe that? And then you bring out your reasons. Okay, that's the point of making an argument. So you definitely are going to have to use information, but you're going to have to use information for the ultimate purpose of establishing an original insight that you have. So how do you know that the insight is original? Well, you have to do a lot of reading to make sure that no one has seen exactly what you're seeing or is making the point that you're making, okay? And you also have to be able to play with different levels of originality. You don't have to be, again, discovering a new moon. You do need to have a deep thought about something, okay? And then you have to be able to bring the material to bear on it, all right? And so when you do research, you're not just looking for quotes to support your position, or you're not looking for other people that have said what you said, because as soon as you find that, your thesis is out of the water, right? Because it's no contribution. In fact, what you're looking for is you're looking for apparently isolated pockets of data, like graphs or numbers or voices, like other people's opinions, that because you're looking at all of this, when you realize, hey, if I get this person and I grab these numbers here and I grab this testimony over here and this cause and effect over here, and I put them together, they all together support my notion. But in isolation, this one is not saying exactly what I'm saying, and this cause and effect analysis paper is not saying what I'm saying, and this data in isolation is saying part of what I'm saying, but not everything. But when I get all this together and put them in my own paper, the one thing that I'm saying becomes more probable in the minds of the readers because I'm putting the data to use properly here, and I'm drawing my conclusions correctly. So, I have students all the time that are trying to find, when I tell them, hey, go find support for your thesis, they think I've got to find other people that say what I say, so that I have like support in numbers. So I'm one voice right now, but now I got to have 3, 4, 5, or 6 voices. But as soon as, and they're saying just the very same thing I'm saying. But see, as soon as you find that, you realize you undercut the originality of your work, because those people are already in print. And if they are in fact saying what you're saying, they've already said it, so you don't need to say it. Okay? So I'm not looking for the argument, the research paper that it just becomes like a collection of voices saying the same thing, and you add your own voice to it. Instead, what you need to do is you need to be able to be a wide reader. So read fast, read a lot, read everything on your topic that you can find, or listen to everything, or watch a lot of things. And then start pulling information and numbers and claims and voices and experiments and logics. Grab what you need to put together a puzzle that at the end of which it ends up supporting the thing you were trying to prove. Okay? I'm going to give you an example here. And what I mean is, in this example is I'm not going to try to argue for or against something. I'm not going to try to discover something new. I'm not going to try to just give you a recap of stuff. Okay, because again, I'm watching your posts, and I can tell some of you are very full of, I don't want to call it trivia, but information. Okay, now a critical thinker is not going to worry too much about carrying information up here, because you can go and find information on Google. What you have to develop is you have to develop the tools that connect the data and that sift through it and say, this is not so hot, this is pretty good. This is actually a logical fallacy. This is a decent argument but needs more data, whatever, okay? But it's not, the mind is not a vessel to be filled, okay? The mind is a lamp to be lit that leads you through the passageway. So I'm not too concerned about you with all your facts, having them like up here and knowing your subject in and out. Now, of course, hear me out, okay? Because if you're an auto mechanic, you obviously need to know the things you're working with. So, I mean, there obviously is a place for holding content in your mind. It's just much more convenient, right? So you don't have to keep on going to your reference books to figure out what a carburetor is. But what I'm saying is, having all that in your mind is not the essence of an intelligent person. Okay? That's the essence of a book, or a dictionary, or a database. Okay, the intelligent person has something more, and that's the ability to make connections, critical connections, and to move through logical steps to a conclusion that is not immediately obvious on the outset, at the beginning. So here's a notion. Now, I'd love for someone to write about this, but since I bring it up as an example, it kind of gets put off limits. But banned books, okay? I mean, you hear about banned books all the time. You know, I see bumper stickers. I read banned books or whatever. You know. Okay, you Google the thing. Try to find information about banned books, and you usually will find just lists of books that have been banned in the past. Okay? Go to Wikipedia, and then you read up about the history of these banned books. Or what I'm trying to say is, I have looked at a lot of this stuff, and a lot of it is very superficial, and have yet to see a paper on banned books that says, stop, hold on, we need to define the term banned. What does it mean for a book to be banned in America? I've not seen a paper that does that. Or a book, or an article, or a documentary. So automatically I'm thinking, hey, you know, obviously I haven't read everything in the world, okay? But from what I have read, no one has covered this question. They're assuming a definition, but they haven't really teased it out to its essence. So there's room for a contribution there, see? Because no one has done that. Alright, so maybe I can write an article on that. Now, I'm actually not doing it because I'm turning into a very lazy person, but, you know, I do know that that's the potential there. I could write an article on that because it hasn't been written yet. I've looked at the databases, I've looked on popular sites, I've looked at all of that. So, and I thought about it too, and I think that the essence of a banned book is that locally it is an artifact that has been in contention between parents and a school board. Now, I'm not even saying whether it's removed out of someone's reach, but it's been the object of contention. I would rather my definition just keep that, okay? To the point where public officials dealing with tax money, because the parents feel like they have leverage because of the taxes that they're putting towards a public library, feel the pressure to remove a certain book or a certain text. By the way, a book does not equal a text. A book is a text, right? But texts are more than just books. The public officials feel the pressure of the parents that are pointing to put tax dollars to remove a publicly, funded text that is offensive to a certain core of the families, of the parents. I think that might be a definition worth working on. And if you look at the history of banned books in America, not a single one was ever completely, off limits to everyone in America. So I can't even think of one book that was illegal to sell across the United States. So why did we talk about banned books? Okay, so what I'm saying here is if I were to write a research paper, I would spend a lot of time trying to research what current authors have written about this and past authors. And but I hope I will never find anyone that actually provided the definition, because as soon as I did, then that person took what I was trying to do. Unless I disagree with his definition, then I can keep on going, right? So I'm very, very much interested then at this point in making an original claim. And the whole point of my paper would be to provide a definition of banned books. So, I might write 5, 6, 7, 8 pages. I might write 30 pages establishing a definition. So that's one way to write a paper. Establish a definition. You just have to have the right topic, right? You have to have a topic that in fact inherently has a poorly defined word in it. I think other topics, weapon, can be a one like that too, as can torture. A lot of words need better definitions. And so, you find you do a lot of reading, you do a lot of examination of the work that's been done on something, and you find out, hey, no one has really defined this term. You have a contribution. So, and you can write your paper on that, all right? So it would use information, but it would certainly go beyond being just informational or just reporting. Because now you think about it. If you're just giving information. Where did you get that information from? Did you actually conduct the experiment? Now, if you did, then that would be frontier because you're putting forth a new experiment, right? But I'm assuming most of you are not going to conduct an actually professional level experiment, right, on something. I don't think you're going to get the funding or the time, or the personnel to help you set the proper controls. All right. So, where are you getting your information? You're just getting it from other sources, right? Okay, if that's all you do and put it in a paper and then give it to me, you're doing a book report on like 5 or 6 other. You're doing just a report, right? And there's nothing original in it to you because you're just using 6 or 7 other voices and putting it all together like a quilt and giving it to me. So there's very little originality. There's no originality in that. So your teachers are going to look at you as a mature person when they look at you working with data in such a way that you are coming up with your own interpretation of it, your own hypotheses, and you're able to make original claims given the data that you are given, which could be, books, documentaries, experiments, whatever. When they see a mind being doing that, they think that this is a mature student because this is the sort of activity that is critical thinking. All right. So now the trouble with academics is that a lot of the time the stuff we let you do your critical thinking over is moot, is pedantic, has very little connection to the real world. But if you want, I'll just throw this out to you. If you want to see people do this the right way, in the sense that they are very much connected to topics that go beyond just mental gymnastics, start reading books like Freakonomics, all right, by Stephen Levitt and another author, I forget who the second one is, but that would show you how this can be done and actually show you how you do this all the time, all right. Anyway, I'm looking for those sorts of topics and that sort of research, okay? Here's something that may be beneficial to you. Pretend you're having a conversation with someone. And have it be 3 or 4 people, 5 people. You're having a conversation with 5 people, so you're all sitting around a table, right? And they're all talking about your topic, okay? So here's person 1, she's saying something. Here's person 2, she says something. Here's person 3, he says something. Person 4 says something. Person 5 says something. And they all say different things because not a single one of them is just repeating what another person is saying. And then it's your turn, and you kind of look around. What are you going to do? All right, are you just going to repeat what person 1 said? I mean, she's going to look at you and say, "Hey, I said that. What are you saying?" Are you just going to repeat what person 2 said? Are you going to kind of like just grab the mic or grab the moment and repeat what everyone said? They would look at you as someone who's deaf, right? Now think of how your conversations work in real life. How many of you get by actually just repeating what other people say when you have conversations? This is a game children play. So don't let this actually be what you do in your research work. You've got to go beyond just repeating those sources. You've got to use them to put them together as puzzle pieces in a system or a sequence that no one else has really seen before, that allows you to make a point. All right? So I just encourage you to think on those lines. Be creative. There's so much creative work that goes into argumentative research of the observational kind, in which originality and contribution is highly regarded and privileged, that it's a surprise to many students that they have to be this creative, but yes you do. Okay, yes you do. Now, the way you do this is you don't worry about it just yet. You just keep on reading. Keep on reading everything you can get your hands on. Start at very basic levels. Work your way up. Just read and think. Read and think. Read and think. Listen to audiobooks on your topic. Watch documentaries on your topic. Try to bring your topic up in conversation with other people. And just read and think. All right? And then 2 weeks later, a week later, a question hits you. Hey, what about this? And you become curious about something. And you try to find the answer to that question. You realize no one has the answer. You might be able to come up with a possible answer. That possible answer might become your thesis. Now, the question can't be your thesis. Thesis is never a question. But the answer to the question can be your thesis. So that I would say continue on and just read as much as you can and be as curious as you can and come up with many questions on your topic. Try to find the answers. And for those questions you can't find answers to, those are potential theses for you to further pursue as you develop your own research.